All verse rising soul fam. So with this topic, I'm going to talk about Generation Z, which is my particular age group. So those of you that's out on social media, whether it be Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media that you use, a lot of you spiritual beings, you're going to connect with this. So Generation Z is the worst generation when it comes to spiritual intelligence with the all seeing my heart and soul eye. Generation Z don't want to connect to walking prophets. Generation Z for the 99 points. I'm going to tell y'all, man. I'm going to repeat this. Generation Z, my particular age group, they are the worst generation when it comes to spiritual intelligence. They rather connect with Freemasons. They rather connect with the Jezebel demon spirit narcissistic frequencies of the slave owner media rather than trying to connect with talented people, rather than trying to connect with like intuitionally intelligent people. That's just how Generation Z is. You feel me? Like Generation Z, whatever you read about on Google, man, talking about they're the most creative people, it's not really true. Generation Z is actually the most corrupted people I ever experienced, for real, because it's only like 1% of people in Generation Z that's spiritually intelligent, that's intuitionally intelligent, that could tell you about some things that's from intuition that you can't even find, that you will not find in slave owner media, slave owner history, and no slave owner indoctrination. It's all true. And let me tell you this, man, Generation Z in these slave owner corporate countries like USA, Canada, United Kingdom, and etc. slave owner corporate countries that's controlled by demonic slave owner Freemason media that you see on TV, that you see on the computers and the phone devices. Generation Z is the most infected to slave owner frequency media than any other generation in history. Is, you know, Generation Z is the worst. When if you're trying to like talk to a bunch of people of my age group about spirituality, it's come from within. You try and talk to Generation Z, talk to people of my age group about intuition and, you know, think for yourself and connect with, you know, the celestial godly source within you, and don't connect to these Jezebel demon frequencies. Generation Z is not going to hear you out. I know from experience, Generation Z is whack. You know, and I'm going to say that, you know what I'm saying? I ain't sugarcoating it. You feel me? Like, just because I'm a part of Generation Z doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and defend them, you know, for the bunch of foolery that they've been going on in these fucking corporate countries. You know, Generation Z, when it comes to mainstream media, I'm gonna use one genre of music for example. So Generation Z, you got Lil Tecca, you got Lil Nas, you got Ice Spice, you got NBA Youngboy, you got NLE Chopper. Those are part of Generation Z. You see, the mainstream music industry in USA is the most corrupted music industry out of all countries. Even though mainstream slave owner media is corrupted in all countries, USA is the worst. Second is Canada, and third is United Kingdom. Of course, we could say European countries slave owner media is a curse too. We already know how that goes. But when it comes to Generation Z, you know, think about the music that's being played as far as hip hop. So hip hop in Generation Z, my age group, right? The music frequencies that NBA Youngboy plays in his music, right? So Generation Z listens to NBA Youngboy the most out of any other generation. You know, so you listen to mainstream music, right? Look at the lyrics that these mainstream artists put in these songs, and then you hear people of my age group, Generation Z, keep repeating, and it puts a curse on themselves. And they're affected by the Jezebel demon spirits, because you gotta understand, celebrities of mainstream media, the mainstream industries, especially in the music industry in USA, these famous musicians, they under the spell of Jezebel demon frequencies created by the draconian and reptilian slave owner. It's all facts. And Generation Z, they don't be trying to hear that stuff, man. They don't try to hear what I try to tell them. It's like only few people in Generation Z that's around my age group that actually take heed to what I'm saying about all the evilness in this damn slave owner society on planet Earth. Because Generation Z, anytime I expose evil frequencies of the slave owner society, people of my own age group, especially people of my own skin complexion, wanna attack me and want to treat me like a villain. Well, I'm telling y'all, the fucking slave owner media, they bullshitting y'all. You know, Generation Z never wants to hear that shit. They always want to deny it. They always want to cut it off, man. Imagine being a walking prophet in Generation Z. Imagine you being a spiritual person at 19 years old, or 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Imagine you being a spiritual person within those age group ranges in Generation Z. And the majority of people, the 99.9% in USA, don't even want to hear you expose, you know, how fake these music artists in the mainstream industry is. Generation Z won't deny it. But the millennials and Generation X, they don't deny that shit. It's only Generation Z. Millennials will actually listen to me. Generation X will actually hear me out. So when you think about Generation Z, it's a bunch of frauds. It's a bunch of frauds. And I'm saying this about people of my own age group. Generation Z is a bunch of damn frauds. Because they want to sit there and want to suck up to the so-called demonic slave owner narcissistic frequency sellouts, rather than want to hear walking prophet, chosen one, spiritual beings like myself. It's crazy. Imagine this too. I'm gonna really hit your head on this. If I told a bunch of people of Generation Z of my age group that when it comes to spiritual, intuitional, all-seeing, mind, heart, and soul, eye intelligence, it's just like me having hair shrinkage. Me having intuitional intelligence is like me having hair shrinkage, right? Because when it comes to spiritual, intuitional intelligence as a walking prophet, you may not see the growth on the surface that walking prophets have, but you know they're growing, just like this hair is always growing. Even though my hair is in shrinkage, my hair is growing when it's really revealed. Just like, you know, when spiritual beings, when we do our shadow work. You see, being a spiritual being, look, man, look, being a spiritual being, let me tell you something. Being a spiritual being, your work is always going to be in the shadows. It's not going to be broadcast to a lot of people. Because if my work was broadcast to a lot of people, man, Generation Z would be quiet as shit. All the people in Generation Z that hated on me for exposing slave owners, they're going to be like, oh shit, he was right the whole damn time. That's just all facts. And then me being a person, having a skin tone of a Hershey chocolate bar, and being a spiritual being and being a male on top of that, you already know I have it the hardest out of any skin complexion spiritual being when you're talking about spirituality in Generation Z. I'm gonna repeat this right now for you all to get this. If you have my skin tone, if your skin tone is the same skin, if your skin tone is like mine's, being the same as a German chocolate ice cream or a Hershey chocolate bar, and you got afro hair, and you speak esoteric, and you speak from a celestial intuitional source, and you exposing slave on the frequencies, Generation Z is gonna hate you, man. You know, I'm hated in Generation Z because of my skin tone. Because I seen people, I witnessed people in Generation Z gave me stink ass looks. You know, they gave me hating ass, funny ass, stink ass looks at me because of my skin tone, and me because I'm a spiritual person. Because I don't fuck with that Jezebel demon frequencies, and I don't fuck with slave on media. If I told people right now I don't fuck with mainstream, if I told Generation Z in USA that I don't fuck with the mainstream music, you know, they think I'm crazy and some shit. And they know that shit got spells in it. They know. They just want to deny this shit because they want to live in denial. So what I do with Generation Z, majority of Generation Z, I have to let them live in denial. Even though those people is the same age group as me, Generation Z, I gotta let them live in denial. The only people I could talk to about this spirituality stuff and how corrupted a slave on the mainstream music industry is, and how the devil works and shit, I gotta talk to millennials and fucking Generation X. I gotta talk to people way old that's old enough to be a creator of the multiverse. I gotta talk to people like that. I can't talk to people of Generation Z. They all, man, majority of them think I'm crazy. Now, for the few people in Generation Z that's in the same age group as me, and you actually is connected to a celestial, intuitional source, man, I salute you, because it ain't too many people of my age group that's trying to, you know, destroy this damn slave owner matrix and shit. They ain't trying to hear all that. Generation Z rather get fucked up on drugs, pop Zans, vape and shit, and destroy their damn genetics. You know, they doing what the slave owners want them to do. Now, if I told some people in Generation Z in USA that I don't smoke at all, I don't drink alcohol, they think I'm fucking crazy. They think something wrong with me. I mean, damn, like the influence that the influence that the mainstream music industry has over Generation Z, they got them like a string of puppets. For those of you that have seen